As you can see, we're still in the high street, where the posh people, the rich people, had their big houses. But if you look down the sides of the big houses, there's what we call a wind, or a ginnel, or a close, and there were houses built down there. But they were awful wee houses, maybe just one room or two rooms, and everybody would live in the same room together. Mind you, in winter, it kept you warm. Perhaps that's something we're going to need this winter. We will have close company, perhaps. And not just the people lived in the houses, the animals came in too. So if you'd got chickens, or ducks, or a pig, or a goat, or if you were very rich, you would have a wee belty cow. Winter time, they'd come into the house with you. It made it very warm, but a trifle smelly. You would have a fire in the middle of the room, with a hole in the roof for the smoke to go out. Now that's a good idea in a hot, dry country. It's not such a good idea in somewhere like Kirkcudbright when it's raining. Go away, you dreadful man! Go away!
No, I've got a bone to pick with some of these folk. I'll show you.
Off your way! Off your way! Off your way!
I want to be!
That was a terrible man indeed. Oh, he's a terrible man. Now, the houses that people lived in were not really very comfortable because the smoke would come all round about you when it rained and the rain came down onto the fire. The chairs, well, they weren't chairs like we had them. You'd be sitting on a big boulder. Your bed would be straw and on the floor, and it would have all sorts of insects in it, so you'd be itching your way through the night, and when you get up in the morning you'd have insect bites all over you. And you didn't have much in the way of cutlery. You'd have a spoon and a knife. Forks were a newfangled thing altogether. They came to this country, well, to England, with Anne Boleyn when she came back from France to catch up with Henry VIII. So they're still very new things. You'd have a bowl. You probably wouldn't have a plate. Your meat would be put on a big piece of bread, thick. And then when you'd eaten your meat, the gravy would be in the bread so you could eat that then. And the vegetables, no potatoes, no chips, no crisps. No Coca-Cola. You would eat leeks and carrots and turnip and onions, and it would be made into a broth with some barley, and you'd have porridge in the morning, good wholesome food that would keep you healthy and fill you up. But you might get meat maybe once a week. And if your daddy was good at catching rabbits, you might have it a bit more often. You'd have rabbit stew. And if your daddy was good at fishing, you might get fish, but not fish and chips, just fish. Just fish. You get some peas with it. You get peas. So the diet was fairly simple. Now, your rubbish was supposed to go on a midden. That was a rubbish heap, a midden. If you didn't put your rubbish in the midden, you'd be in trouble and you'd be fined. And there was a man employed by the town that went up and down the high street with a couple of pigs. And they would eat any rubbish that was left on the main road, because pigs will eat anything. I've got a good way to do a murder. I'll tell you about it if you're interested later. It involves pigs. And he was paid £40 a year. A huge sum of money to make sure that the road was clear, because there'd be carts with horses, and there's all the droppings from the horses, and when you let your animals out into the main street, there's all the droppings from them, but the pigs would eat everything and keep it clean. I know, it's not quite what you fancy, is it? But it might come to that with the strikes in Edinburgh. It might come to that yet. I hope you'll all have enough money to buy a wee pig. If I tell you where to find one, will you give me a bit of the pig when you make hams? So life then was very different from life now. And people did not live as long, obviously, as someone like me, nowhere near as long as me, possibly about half as old as I am. And I'm not telling you how old that is. But the life was difficult, it was hard. But people worked together, lived together, helped each other, and it made life bearable for a lot of the time. So we're going to go on a wee bitty further.
You must be simple, sir, expecting good folk to part with their merks and their shillings for this rubbish. Look at it.
Oh, come on, woman! I only deal in the best quality cloth. I get it from my supplier in Edinburgh, and he only ever supplies the very, very, very best cloth.
Rubbish.
Doesn't he, girl?
Pure,
You know that.
unadulterated rubbish. They saw
Oh,
you
no!
coming.
You just ripped that
Nobody
purpose.
said you. I did not rip it.
You
Look,
did, you
I
did.
just did that. Now,
Oh,
where
you
goes
just did
rubbish?
it!
Pure, unadulterated rubbish.
If I sold you the wrong quality cloth, I'd lose my license.
Aye, well, you haven't even got a licence. I'm sure you haven't. I'm
have
telling you, I've got Wayne's to clear and they wouldn't last 5 minutes in their back.
I have got a license, and here it is.
Oh, rubbish,
It
rubbish.
says
That doesn't
Kirkcudbright on
say
it.
that at all.
My Kirkcudbright
It
license.
does not.
That's
It
right,
does
isn't
not.
it, girls?
Listen,
Oh.
my man's been called to be a soldier,
Oh.
and I need to make him a coat and a cassock to keep him warm.
Well, what colour do you want then?
I want it black, but you've nothing like that.
Black.
You never have
I want
black.
it green, I want it blue,
Because-
I want it
no,
black.
No, because you don't buy the good quality. You
What's going on here?
Rubbish.
What's going on here, sir?
Watch this. Look, he says he's got a license to sell that rubbish.
Look, she's telling me again. And then
This
she'll
cloth,
blame.
this cloth is not up to the
She'll
quality that
blame my
we
little
deserve
pet rat
in
for
good
eating
quality.
it. And it doesn't. You eat it. It's you.
You,
She
sir.
does it. She's ripping
Got a license
it.
on it.
License, look.
Rubbish!
That
Rubbish! Like your
license, let me
clothes!
see that
Rubbish!
license.
This is Kirkcudbright.
That license is fake. That license is fake. You are a rogue trader.
No.
Yes,
How
you
dare?
You're a
Take that man away.
You're trying to